everybody, it's Sarah, and today I'm going to be talking about the 7 short films in the Twilight Storytellers competition. So last year it was announced that Stephenie Meyer, Women in Film, and Facebook, and a couple other people were getting together to host this competition for female filmmakers. Okay, so all of the short films were going to be based on characters in the Twilight Saga and backstories that Stephenie Meyer got into in the Twilight Saga official illustrated guide. So regardless of what you think about Twilight or Stephenie Meyer, I think this was a really great opportunity for women in film, and I really wanted to talk about these short films. I actually participated in the competition, and my screenplay proposal at the stake was selected. It did not make it to the final rounds, but it was still a lot of fun to participate. If you want to actually learn more about the competition and that whole process, I did a video about this on my old BookTube channel, so I will link to that down below and you can check that out if you're interested. But otherwise, let's get into it. Okay, so there were 6 films that were made as a result of the screenplays that people voted on, and then there was 1 wildcard entry. So I'm going to talk about these in order from my least favorite to my favorite. So the first short film that I'm going to talk about is Turncoats. This is a short film about the Revolutionary War featuring Garrett and Carlisle. For me, this film wasn't great. The acting was a little questionable, the writing was a little questionable. I didn't entirely believe the whole thing. A large part of this plot centers around Garrett's sister, who is pretending to be a guy so that she can fight in the war. And the minute you see her, she's not a very convincing man, so that part wasn't believable to me. I will say that the actors who played Carlisle and Garrett did a pretty good job, but some of the other actors I was not as much of a fan of. It felt very low budget, and it felt very kind of amateurish. I don't really want to use that word because it sounds really pretentious, but that is kind of how it felt. It felt more like a student film. So I'm going to give this one 2 out of 5 stars. The next film that I'm going to talk about is The Groundskeeper. This was a film that was centering around Alice and her transition into becoming a vampire, and the groundskeeper that helped her. Stylistically, it was a very different film than the other 6. It felt like she was obviously trying to give it a very Quentin Tarantino feel, and I saw what she was going for, but I'm not sure that it worked in this context. I feel like the whole tone of the Twilight world is kind of just a different tone than the sort of campy vampire genre. So I do applaud her trying to go for a slightly different style and put her own spin on this story. But I don't think that it ultimately worked. It just felt a little out there. It felt a little surreal. The acting was okay in this one. Some of the accents were questionable. I'm pretty sure this one took place in Mississippi, so there were a couple of people that were trying to be more southern. Being from the South, whenever I hear actors completely butchering the southern accent, you can tell. I also really didn't think that we needed 2 films about Alice in the asylum, but it was okay. I would give it 3 out of 5 stars. So the next film that I'm going to talk about is MASQUE. This was the wildcard entry. This film centered around Esme and Carlisle, and Esme is kind of transition into becoming a vampire and gaining more control over herself. I thought this film was pretty well done. It looked really pretty. The visuals were really cool. The actress playing Esme, I thought she was spot on to the Esme that I pictured when I was reading these books. Carlisle was pretty good as well. The acting was pretty good. A few of the secondary characters were kind of questionable, and I do think the writing could have been a little bit more polished in this film, but overall it was pretty good. And it was enjoyable. It was entertaining. It was nice to see some of the other Cullens that weren't Alice, because 3 of these films did center around Alice. The next film is Sunrise. This film centers around Benjamin and Tia. They are the Egyptian vampires that are featured in Breaking Dawn. I feel like if you just casually watched the movies one time or read the books maybe one time, you might not remember who these characters are, but I don't think that's really important to enjoy this film in and of itself. I thought this one was really well done. I thought all of the acting was really good. A lot of these films are more serious, more melancholy, and so this one was kind of a little bit more positive, I would say. It also was nice to have a film that was set in a different part of the world from the rest of them. I saw another reviewer on YouTube refer to it as Twilight meets Aladdin, and that's pretty accurate. Like, if you think of Aladdin with vampires, it's basically the film you would get. But I really enjoyed it. I would give it 4 out of 5 stars. The next film is Consumed. This one centered around Jane and Alec, and this was kind of their origin story, how they became vampires. This was very similar to the screenplay that I was going to write, actually. So I was really happy to see it. This film was really, really well done. I really enjoy stories where we get a different perspective, where we see things from a villain's point of view. The acting was really, really good. The cinematography was also really good on this one. It looked really nice. There were some cool effects. And overall, I thought this one was really well done, and I would give it 4 out of 5 stars. So the next film is The Mary Alice Brandon File. This is another film that centers around Alice being in the asylum before she becomes a vampire. I thought this was really, really well done. I thought the actress playing Alice in this film was probably the most original take on Alice that we saw in the 3 Alice films, and I really enjoyed her interpretation of the character. I thought all of the acting in this film was really, really good. I thought the writing in this film was really solid, and the writers of this film were also the directors, so I feel like that kind of helped. Like, you really got a sense that what you were seeing was really their vision. And I just thought it was really well done. I mean, it was kind of on the melancholy side, but it was really captivating. It made you think, and I thought it really worked as a short film. Even if you didn't know anything about the Twilight movies or books or any of these characters, I think it would still work really well as a short film on its own. So I give this one 5 out of 5 stars. And the last film that I want to talk about, my favorite film, is We've Met Before. This centers around Alice and Jasper meeting for the first time. This was definitely the most lighthearted, upbeat film, and I feel like those tend to work a little better as short films, just because you don't have as much time to get as invested in the characters as you typically need to be for a more dramatic story. But I really enjoyed this one. It was cute, it was romantic, it looked really good, it was very well done. It didn't feel like a low budget film. The acting was spot on. The actors really looked like the characters the way they're described in the books. And it gave you that kind of fun, quirky feeling that you get with Alice. I think that's one of the things that makes her so fun as a character. I really enjoyed the opening kind of montage. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is one of my favorite films of all time. I didn't really see a flaw in this film. I thought it was just great. Definitely my favorite. 5 out of 5 stars. If you don't have time to watch all of the films, you should at least watch this one. Even if you're not really a fan of the Twilight movies or the Twilight books, you should think about watching some of these films because I think it's important to give our support to these female filmmakers. I really hope that they get to participate in more projects because of this, and that they have opportunities in the film industry because of this. There are 2 more days, I think, to go on and vote for your favorite, and I think they're going to give like a big grand prize to the person who wins. I'll leave a link to that down below. You can go watch all of these films on the Facebook or on the website where you go vote. And ultimately, even the films that I wasn't a big fan of, I really appreciate all of the work that went into making these films. I know how difficult it can be to make a film on a very low budget. I've been involved in that before, and it can be stressful. So, good job, female filmmakers. A+ from me. Alright, that's it for me. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos. I generally do videos about books, writing, or music, but you never know when I'm going to do a video about a movie or a TV show or just random thoughts. So, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.